Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am working in my memory planner for the week of March 28th through April the 3rd. I have my pictures printed out. I actually have this large sheet of, I think what is considered wrapping paper technically. It's a rifle paper coat. I'm going to be cutting some florals out of that to use on my page because I think it'll be beautiful for spring, bright and colorful. And then I have pieces from Vicki Bouton's color study line that might also get mixed in as well. So I will link everything that I can find down below. Otherwise, I'll put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. Step one is going to involve a lot of fussy cutting. I'm going to fussy cut out several of these flower bunches. I've actually had this paper for a really long time. It is from the Paper Source, but it is Rifle Paper Co. brand. It's their very distinct version of florals. And it's going to make a huge impact on the page. I'm not going to need a whole lot of other pieces just because I know that this is going to be very, very colorful and really going to stand out on the page. The plan is to have them starting in the middle of the spread. You can see I'm going to put the two pages right next to each other. They're going to start in the middle, come down, and then kind of like they're falling out of a waterfall of beautiful flowers. They're going to come down and then spread across the bottom of the spread. So I definitely need at least one more. I think I probably cut out a couple of different, no, I think just one more, but this one is rather big and complicated. So finishing out, cutting out one last little bunch. And of course, once I cut off the edges of some of these that are hanging over the bottom, then I'll be able to use those as well. So that will go on the bottom. I'm going to use the Tombow permanent adhesive. When you're doing something over the middle of a spread like this, you really have to use plenty of adhesive because you don't always know what the edge is going to be, if that makes sense, because you're eventually going to cut it apart in the middle. You line up the pages perfectly right here. Once you get one piece down, that will keep it in place. And ta-da! Lined up, and then I'll just continue down the rest. This is just a super easy way. If you ever just see beautiful paper, I'm a big fan of fussy cutting regular scrapbook paper. It's just a great way to get more use out of your paper. I love those type of elements. Sometimes a big piece of wrapping paper like that, or even a full 12 by 12 thing of scrapbook paper is gonna be too much on a spread. It's just a lot. And if you're just using it to mat pictures, that also feels like you're not getting the full impact, but doing some fussy cutting really, really allows you to get the most out of some of these gorgeous, gorgeous designs. All right, you can see I am not holding back on the adhesive like at all. Just trying to figure out the right position for this one. And then I can cut off the bottom and still use the other piece. So this one I'm going to put to the side because that's going to make its way back onto the spread. All right, now I have it down the center, and because it's a memory planning spread, I'm not holding back. We're going to just go along the bottom as well, just so it takes up a lot of space and makes a really, really big impact. I think this is just such a fun way to include scrapbook paper on a spread. I mean, look at that impact. I totally, I'm not going to lie, I was working on this. I totally want to do a planner spread using this paper as well, because how beautiful is that? I think it is so, so, so pretty. Cutting that one in half. Now I need an element over here. And really, this is going to be the majority of the decorating. It goes pretty fast. The fussy cutting did take a while. That's, not going to lie. It does take a hot second to do all that fussy cutting, but it is just so, so, so pretty. Putting that on the edge. Gorgeous. And just a little trim. And it's just fun to change it up in your memory planner. It can be a really cool place to do some experimenting as far as things you might like to try in your regular planner. This is going to be like scaled up a lot than what I would put in a regular planner, but I still think it's a cool concept as far as the florals going down the middle and kind of cascading off to the sides. Super, super pretty. Once I am pleased with those florals, then I just flip it over. I'm cutting off all of the extras, flip it over, cut it in half again, right down the middle of the page, right where it was. And then I'm going to use one of my very favorite tools that I use all of the time with my planners. That would be the We Are Memory Keepers disc punch. It is a single hole punch that gives that disc shape. So if you use disc bound systems for any of the things, then this disc punch is the way to go. And I like it gives you a little guide on how it lines up. It cuts it deep enough. It's the right depth, I would say, for a happy planner. So I've tried other punches as far as really powerful punches, and it doesn't really match up with the happy planner discs. And this one does. And this particular punch can punch through some thick stuff. So obviously this is just paper right here. I will have to unload this. It gets all full, but this is just paper, but this can punch through some chipboard. It punches through plastic. It punches through a lot of the things. I've used it to make covers. It is one of my favorite tools. I think it's somewhere around like $30, and it is definitely worth it. As far as the week with my family, it was a pretty typical week for us. I have been on spring cleaning and organization mode like crazy. Like that is what my week has been focused on. I've really been enjoying it. So I have pictures of some of my finished products. My daughter is starting to get back into soccer. She's still maybe a week out from getting all the way back to being able to run, but she's been able to do goalkeeper stuff after breaking her toe. And then I had my last color guard judging gig of the winter season. And that was a championship day on Saturday where I judged 68 different winter guards, and it was a lot. It was a very busy day. Plus, somewhere in there, my husband and I managed to sneak off for a date during the day. So kind of a typical week for us. Normal number of photos. I'm having the cleaning photos over on the left side all together so I can kind of tell that story about what I've been up to. I have a picture of me at Target with a happy planner as I worked on a project for the happy planner, and then checking out some pictures of my daughter and me hanging out at soccer practice. So getting it all organized on the page, and I decided not to mat these pictures, which normally I am a big fan of matting all the pictures, but there's a lot going on this page already, so I didn't think the matting was totally necessary. All right, now I'm going to start playing with some embellishments. I'm trying to keep in mind where I might like to journal. And so I'm going to divide up this section. If I have this piece down here, it divides this section over on the right-hand side into two parts where journaling lines can go. I do want to include words on the left-hand side just to make sure it's balanced with big words on the right-hand side. You can see I'm kind of auditioning some different pieces, seeing what they might look like. I don't want to go overboard. It could easily be too much. That is super cute with the say cheese. So we'll get those on the page, and then I think we're gonna check for some journaling lines. So I do like to add my own journaling lines. Oh, before I do that, you know what I do is add a little border. So I say I didn't want to mat these, and then I added just a fun little stitch border. And what it did was bring in a little bit more black to the spread, which I really thought it needed. It brought the pictures all together in a uniform way because they all have the same design around them. And I just have fun doing the little stitch. So it wasn't quite as heavy as full on matting, but it still kind of gave the same effect, which is something that I really like. So we're going to add that around all of the photos. And then I will go ahead and add the journaling lines that I like to use for my writing. I know that not everybody is as OCD as me for adding in the journaling lines. You could just write in these boxes, no big deal. I also, though, I don't measure them out. So I use my ruler to make sure they're straight, but I don't measure out the exact distance between each line. So I guess I could, be a little bit more, OCD about how the lines work, but I just kind of try to space it out, work within the lines that are there. But I take it off camera, I'll add my journaling, and this page will be done. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button so you'll be some of the first to know if I publish a new video. I will link all of the supplies I use down below, so be sure to check those out. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. We are growing over on Patreon. We're having a great time. So if you want to join us, check out the link to my Patreon account in the description box as well. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.